Chair now recognizes the gentleman from North Carolina, Mr. Bishop.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. How do I pronounce your name? Is it Weigman?
It's Wigman.
Wigman.
Yeah.
Mr. Wigman, I want to bore into this just a little bit more. So, and some of the questions have indicated and the answers indicate you got to be careful about revealing specific technological things. But I noted one thing when you were testifying, you said that the reason you need expanded authorities, I believe I got this right, is that the effective technologies to deal with this could violate laws on intercepting aircraft in flight and intercepting transmissions. Did I get that correct?
That's right.
And maybe if you could just help me understand a little bit better. If you've got like a mass spectator event, which is one thing that's been raised, it seems to me, how do you have and you've also said, several of you have made the point that, how you intercept data to prevent intruding on privacy and only certain types of data. And I must tell you, that has a sophistication level I don't really understand. Why not just have a rule that anybody who flies a drone near a mass spectator event, the drone's going to be destroyed in the air? Is that something that it'd be hard to do? And then why do you need to intercept data in order to do that? If the object is there, destroy it.
So it's a good question. I think the way it works, as I understand it, and my colleagues can talk about this operationally, if you had, let's say, a football game, and you would have a perimeter, it would be declared as a temporary flight restricted area.
Okay.
So around that, you're going to have a buffer zone. You have an area where it's a no-go, and then you have a larger area around that where you might want to detect what's flying, and then you have a larger area around that where you might be tracking, but regular commercial drone use is okay. And so as they're getting closer and closer to the facility, you're detecting originally the signals to see what is that drone. You're trying to identify the drone. Oh, is that a UPS? Is that
like a long distance radar or something like that?
Exactly. So is that a UPS drone that's just delivering a package somewhere? Let it go on its way. Is it getting closer right into the zone where you're going to have to do something against it? So it's kind of a calibrated thing, and as you get closer and closer, then that's where you take the opportunity to use the technology to jam it. Is most frequently rather than destroy the drone. You're interfering with its navigation in a way that confuses it and requires it to land. And that's what they do in these scenarios to make it land somewhere rather than it's not the same as shooting it out of the sky is my understanding of how it works. You're instead using electronic things to bring it down. So that's essentially how it works.
Is the technology, and I've always been curious about that. I've asked that, first time I asked it in a hearing a couple of years ago, there's a Twitter of laughter throughout the room about naivety of thinking you could destroy the thing in the air, and I guess maybe if it leaves debris to fall or something, I could understand.
It could be dangerous also, I think.
Yeah.
If you were just to kinetically destroy it, I imagine there would be some hazards with that.
Should the average person looking at this, or the average congressman trying to understand it, believe that these technologies where you can use electronics to force the device to land are successful or have a high degree of reliability? Maybe I'll direct that to Mr. Jones.
Yeah.
So there's also non-destructive kinetic capabilities. So one thing from a law enforcement perspective we have to remember is that if we can capture a drone, there's a forensic capability that allows us to glean information.
Yeah.
And so that's important to us, as well as avoiding or minimizing any collateral damage. We have to be very careful in any application of force in public areas, responsible law enforcement, first do no harm.
Is any witness able to testify? Because what you've essentially laid out is we've had a series of short-term reauthorizations of what you had, the authorities that now exist, and the issues you want to expand the authorities. And I have concerns, especially after a variety of ways in which I think government authority has misused power to intercept information or learn information about the American people and has gone too far. What are can anybody describe what the hesitancy is and why they're not significant, or why they should be overruled and proceed with this more expanded authority? Mr. Wigman?
Hesitancy in adopting the expanded authority, or?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of hard for us to answer because we support expanding the authority. But I think that it's important to recognize when you talk about intercepting signals and so forth, as I mentioned in my opening statement, as Assistant Director Wheeler just mentioned, the types of signals that we're getting are the same types of information that is actually required to be broadcast and that anyone can pick up with a drone, today as the FAA's rules. So we're not talking, there is I guess a privacy interest, but it's the same type of information that we're now requiring, and it's a new regulation, but requiring drones to broadcast so that anyone can pick up, because it's really just about the communications between the drone and the controller, so that we can figure out where is that person, what's the registration, what's the model, how do we deal with it. So I think the privacy interest is limited.
My time has expired. Thank you very